Welcome everybody, and thank you so much for being here to our second public forum for our comprehensive plan. What you see behind you, you'll hear more from Fisher, Chris. Everything okay? If you look behind you, you'll see all of the draft goals that actually came from the community, mostly, that you'll be able to weigh in on. And you have a really unique opportunity. I wish there were more of us here, but we have a pretty good amount of people. But you have a unique opportunity to really help decide what the vision is for the future of Tuckahoe, and your input is valuable. We, as you can see in the back, the feedback that we've gotten, we're taking it to heart, we're using it, and we just want to keep fine-tuning. There will be another public forum, so we're grateful that you're here, and we invite you to come back. And please bring 2 people with you who live in Tuckahoe to also give feedback, because this is your community. This is not any one person's community, so we need you to give us your feedback. And we thank Fisher and their team for working with the Comprehensive Plan Committee. I'd like to have the committee stand so that you can recognize them and thank them for their work. Thank you very much. Renee Howell is the chair, she's here. I'm going to turn it over to you, Chris.
Hi everybody, can you hear me okay in the back? Okay, we're going to turn the lights off in a second so you can see the presentation, and you can go to the next slide. All right, so thank you for the welcome. It's great to be back here. We're going to talk, sort of like last time. I see a lot of the same faces, so if you were here last time, it's a similar program where we'll give a little bit of a presentation, and then we'll send you off to the back of the room to get your feedback. That's really the main reason we're here, is to continue hearing from you, because ultimately, this is the Tuckahoe Comprehensive Plan. It's not the Fisher Associates Comprehensive Plan. It's really being driven by the community's thoughts. So if you go to the next slide, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the project and where we are in the process. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Simon, and he's going to spend a little bit of time reviewing the public engagement process and what we've heard to date from all of you. And then I'll take it back and I'll talk about what I think is really the heart of the comprehensive plan, and that's the development of the vision, the goals, and the strategies. And then we'll set you off to gather your feedback. Next slide. Wanted to also just echo my thanks to the committee that has been helping to shepherd this process and keep it moving forward and providing such valuable input to us. Also want to recognize we're here also with our colleague Aishwarya from RKG Associates, and so she'll also be staffing one of the stations, so you can speak to her and get her expertise, particularly in areas of housing and economic development. Next slide. So I think this is probably the one slide that's still a little blurry. I'm just going to mention that all of these slides will be posted on the Village's we have a project website, which we have a link at that at the end, or you can, I'm sure, just Google it and find it on your on the Village's website. But as you can see from here, we are kind of entering the home stretch of this process now. This was envisioned to be about a 1-year process. Frankly, I thought that was pretty fast. I was a little skeptical, but again, just want to give kudos to the village staff and to the committee for helping to keep things moving along, because it's not easy to plan these public forums, and that's often where things take a lot of time. So we've been able to kind of keep that moving forward. This forum is taking place a little bit later in the process than we originally envisioned, but on the other hand, we're able to go further along, and so we're sort of right where we need to be. And so, as was mentioned earlier, we are going to come back another time where we're taking more of the feedback and refining what we hear, and we'll come present it again, and again have another round of iteration, most likely on that. With that, I'm going to just hand it off to Simon to talk about the engagement.
Thank you, Chris. So, as the mayor and Chris both mentioned, this is a plan, and then we are preparing a plan with you and not for you. So public participation and your inputs are very valuable to this process. So first of all, we had a public survey I'm sure all of you are aware of it, and we had great response, as well as the first public forum we had. So input from both events and both surveys we are coming to present, just so you know what we heard from the community, and because that will influence the vision, the goals, and then the strategies that we have. So thanks for that. So to begin the whole process, we did a village tour. We also had some stakeholder interviews to give us some key insights into the issues going on in the village that needs to be addressed in this plan. We had various committee meetings, and then of course we had a public survey. 304 responses, those were great, so thank you. And then we had about 75 people attended the first public forum. So comments from both the survey and then the forum is what I'll be presenting on from this slide. In terms of housing, we asked which of the following housing types should the village prioritize in the future. I realized a lot of the input we got was for mixed housing types with different price points. So everybody, based on your income level, you have something to either buy or rent. So that was good. The second to that was single family housing, and of course, we also had a great amount of people wanting accessory dwelling units, and so that was also good. So that is the input we got from you based on housing. We asked, what do you like best about living in Tuckahoe? And then the first 5, obviously, the accessibility to the train stations. That was one thing that people really loved about Tuckahoe. Of course, it's walkable. They said the proximity to New York City, that is great. It's safe, they said, and of course they had, the neighborhood was quality in terms of social cohesion and all this. And so these are very wonderful opportunities that people can take advantage of, or as a community can take advantage of, to build on this plan that we have been doing to make Tuckahoe even a better place to live. In terms of businesses and services that people want to see, we had a lot more, but we highlighted the first 5. People want to see restaurants, cafes, breweries, shops, bakeries, wines, wine and cocktail bars, and then banks. That was a pretty significant one that kept coming up. And we also asked about the current events that are being hosted in the village. Which of them do you really enjoy and would want to see being continued? Farmers market, winter market, festive event, concert, holiday parades, and celebrations were the top 5 events. In terms of future growth that people want to see in Tuckahoe, 62% of the input want to see adaptive reuse of existing buildings. So you have existing buildings, some of them are vacant, but you can definitely put them to use. So that is the major future development of growth people want to see. Of course, people will also want mixed-use development, combining residential and commercial. Tourism and recreation was another major one. New residential development is also pretty significant future growth that people want to see. And I think that all influenced how people feel in the village when we asked them about rating the quality of life in Tuckahoe. As you can see, 51% said it's good, and then 38, which is a very significant amount, said it's excellent. So that is also a wonderful opportunity that can be harnessed to build on this plan. Vision for the future. So in the previous public forum, we asked you to write what you want to see Tuckahoe in the next 10, 20 years, and people gave ideas. These are just few of the ideas we got. We got a lot of information. And so based on these inputs, we drafted a vision statement that Chris will take you through, and then you will also get an opportunity to even refine it further. So thank you for those responses too. And then if you recall, we did an exercise to see how we want to see Marbledale Road in the future. And so we gave you the opportunity to build Marbledale as you would like to see, with different level colors: red for commercial, residential, yellow, green, recreational, and then also to start them to show the different story buildings or the number of floors that you wanted. And so based on what you guys did or what was done, people really appreciated up to 4-story buildings on Marbledale Road. Of course, they wanted a mixed use, the first floor commercial and then the top residential. Also, so a good one that people wanted. People also highlighted they wanted historic trails to connect various parts of Marbledale to the rest of the village. And of course, because it has the quarry history, people wanted to appreciate the history of Marbledale. So there were comments to provide a monument, kind of to remember the history or historic the significance of Marbledale. So that was the exercise, as you can see from the picture. That was what people wanted. What kinds of businesses and restaurants that we want to see in Marbledale Road? Restaurants, bars, movie theater, dog park, country. These are just few of the information we got. And so you could see people really want a mix of all these uses to really make Marbledale a very vibrant, very walkable corridor for the village. So that was good. And we did this fun exercise, if you remember, in the first public forum. This was for you to pin a dot in the various parts of the village that we thought either needed to be preserved, whether you felt there was a challenge there, a specific challenge that you wanted it to be addressed, whether you saw an opportunity in an area that could be harnessed to build on, to provide development for the Tuckahoe. So it gave you the opportunity, and then, as you can see from the picture, people put comments, you just write the comments and then you put them in the various areas. We have great feedback. And so this, as Chris mentioned earlier, this slide will be posted on the website. And so if you go on the website, you click on where we have click here to access results. We have a digitalized version of this where you can just click on a point and then you know what comments people actually had on various points. And then they are demarcated by the color. So if you saw any blue dots on the map, click on it, it will show you what people wanted to preserve at that specific location. And that goes on with the general comments, challenges, and opportunities as well. So if you have the chance, please take a look when it's posted on the website. What changes people will want to see in the next 10 years? Of course, majority of people wanted variety of stores, restaurants, other commercial services, more sidewalks, trails and bike lanes, more crosswalks, improved crosswalks, visibility, more recreational programs and utilities, more housing available for families and citizens, supporting a variety of income levels. These were the top major 5 things people want to see in the next 10 years. So all these inputs affected the vision that we created, the goals, and of course the strategies that we drafted that we will be on tonight. And so I will leave presentation to Chris to continue with the vision.
Thanks, Simon. So as you can see, we've got a lot of info from everyone, and I just want to thank Simon, was the one that was really in the trenches, synthesizing all this information for us and summarizing it and doing that digitization of the map, which I think is a really cool thing as well. And also just want to note that what Simon presented is a selection of the feedback. So on the project website, if it's not there, it will be imminently. We have the full results of the survey and a write-up, a full summary from the last public forum as well. So we're now kind of getting into, we take all of that information that we got from everyone and start to develop what I think is, as I mentioned before, it's the heart of what the comprehensive plan is. And so it's few parts to it. There's, at the highest level, it's the vision. So this is, how do you envision yourselves? Where do you want to be in the next decade, 15 years or so? Under that, then, we are creating a number of goals, and those goals are intended to help achieve the vision. And we've organized these goals by some different topics. Then each of the goals have a number of strategies that together can actually try and work towards achieving the goals. So if you go to the next slide, please. So we talked about starting with the vision. Again, we asked some very open-ended questions. The first forum in general was sort of open-ended, asking your feedback. We're now kind of honing in, and we're taking that information and now giving you something more specific to react to. So from the survey, from the forum, we got a bunch of information. Within Fisher, we kind of took our first shot at taking that information and developing what's called the vision statement. I see some of you have already started reviewing it and commenting on it. Proactive. We then, it's an iterative process, so we iterated on that a few times internally. Then we brought it to the committee. We got some really great feedback from the committee, and then we refined it further. So if you go to the next slide, I'm not going to read this big long vision statement here. We have it for you to digest afterwards. But it's essentially in three parts. The first paragraph really focuses on your assets, what people love about this village, and that's one of the themes that's really been coming through, is like this is an area that people really love to live in. The second paragraph, though, acknowledges that there are some challenges. And so what are those challenges that we want to meet over the coming decade or more? And then the final paragraph, it really sort of, a theme emerged about Marbledale specifically, and so we wanted to sort of put some special emphasis on that. And so when we go to the open house, we want to hear from you. I mean, we hope we're pretty close on the vision, but we want to hear if you agree, if you disagree, what's missing, what's extra that should be taken out, any other thoughts you have on that so that we can refine it even further. Next slide. So we have goals by a number of topics. Most of those topics are sort of standard topics we find in a comprehensive plan, like housing, economic development, transportation. So it's a way to organize all of the goals. Each of the goals, as I mentioned, will have a number of strategies. We are also organizing these strategies not only by topic, but we've also developed these, what we're calling cross-cutting themes, because there are some issues where different topics all work together to help achieve some broader goal or theme within the community. So I'll just give one example, would be walkability. So maybe as a first obvious topic, it would be transportation, right? Is it safe to cross the street? Do you have sidewalks so it's safe to walk along the street? But walkability actually means a lot more than that. So it's not just is it safe, it's is it useful? So are we connecting where people live to where they want to go? So it's also a land use issue. And it goes beyond that. Is it a comfortable walk? Is it a walk that people want to do? So think about walking, what it's like to walk along like strip malls or along parking lots versus what it's like if you're walking along a downtown street or through a beautiful park. So it's also urban design and it's open space. And so all of that works together to create a walkable community. So just to give a again, how this sort of all works together without going into the details here, we had this one theme and we thought it was so important, we also made it a topic related to Marbledale Road. We have 6 goals that our attempt to achieve the theme of revitalization of Marbledale, and we'll ask you tonight to comment on those goals. If you go to the next slide, this is just an example of what we have here. These are the 6 goals. If you go to the next slide, each of those goals has a number of strategies. So here's the second goal about creating it as a mixed-use corridor. There's 4 strategies we have right now on how to achieve that goal. So many of you, I think, grabbed a handout. If you haven't grabbed one yet, we have more of them. And if we run out of them, we also have it online. And what we're going to ask you to do is, it'll be so overwhelming to try and comment on all of these strategies tonight that we're going to let you bring this home and we'll give you some homework and you can review it. And we have an online form that people can then provide their comments over the next couple of weeks or so. So if we took even then just one of those strategies, to actually achieve implementation then requires even more steps. The final part of the plan, which is the next part, will be developing is what's essentially an implementation matrix of how to go about achieving these strategies. Just as one example, this first strategy relates to amending your zoning code, and that is not a light lift. So this one strategy requires reviewing everything related to heights, setbacks, other dimensional standards, how much parking is required, design standards, what uses are allowed. So there's a lot just for that one strategy. So if you go to the next slide, I think the last point I just want to sort of make here is that we're developing over the next couple of months, and we'll hopefully be finalizing this comprehensive plan, but it's not the end. In some ways, it's sort of the beginning of the process, because we have this plan. Now we have to go about implementing this plan. And so over the coming years, the idea is that you start focusing on different strategies, hopefully some of them concurrently, so that you can then lead towards achieving the goals, which ultimately will help you achieve your vision over the long term. So, like I said, we're going to post this. If you want to scan this now, you can. If not, you can find this online. This is the form where you can comment on each of the specific strategies. I don't expect people to comment on every strategy by any means, although you're of course welcome to. But think about things like, oh, if we want to achieve this goal, what's missing? The strategies aren't enough, or this strategy I disagree with, or this one's really important. Those are the kinds of comments we want to hear from you. If you go to the next slide, this is a different QR code. This is the link to the project website. This is where this presentation will be posted. This is where we will put the handout of the strategies also will be posted so that you can refer to it there as well. And finally, that's really it for the presentation. So what we'll do now is we'll break up. You can go around to the different stations. The vision statement is over there. My guess is if everybody tries to go there at once, it's going to be very crowded. So there's no real order. You can go to the different topics, comment on the ones that you want. We will have members of the committee and people from our staff staffing the different stations to help guide you, to answer questions, to have conversations. And with that, just want to say thank you again for having us, and we look forward to continuing the process.